All right, good morning, Bismarck Mandan. Dave Floor here, Mr. Housing, and I'm here with Greg Larson,
Mr. Realtor.
Mr. Realtor, and Jim Walsh, Mr.
Button pushing guy.
Button pushing guy.
Button
Yeah.
pushing guy. Okay, that's your new title, Jim.
Thank
Button
you.
pushing guy.
Don't push my buttons, Jim.
Yep. Okay, and we have to be careful when we say that.
We have to be careful.
Okay. All right. Well, as always, let's start off with interest rates.
Okay.
What the heck are they doing this week?
Nothing.
That's pretty much it.
Nothing, honey.
Yeah.
Boy, Greg, you nailed it, man.
Yeah.
You could be a prognosticator.
Yeah, I
one of them
could.
guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, let's give the real data here. The Freddie Mac weekly survey, which is actually not today. It ends today, but it's from like Monday and Tuesday,
Right.
so it's a little bit outdated. But the 30-year fixed rate mortgage averaged 3.64% for the week ending today. That is up from last week when it averaged 3.58. And a year ago, it was at 3.87. So guess what? We're doing pretty darn good.
That's
And
right.
You did hit the nail on the head. They really did nothing. That is not a meaningful.
That's a
change.
really good thing.
That is a good thing.
When the interest rates are really good, it's a good time to buy. And when the answer to what are they doing is nothing, it means it's still a good time
It's
to buy.
a good deal. The 15-year averaged 2.89%. That was up from last week when it averaged 2.81. A year ago, it was at 3.11. Now, here's the interesting one, I thought. We haven't really talked about this before, but the 5-year adjustable rate mortgage that they do the survey on here, it's the Treasury Indexed Hybrid Adjustable Rate Mortgage, 5-year ARM, averaged 2.87. That was up from last week when it averaged 2.8. Now, compare that to the 15-year, which is at 2.89.
Yeah.
It's virtually the same thing.
Where should you be?
So what would you do if you were taking out a mortgage today and you were looking, well, I shorten my term up here. Would you do an ARM or take that fixed
Let me
rate?
think. I can get a guaranteed rate for 15 years or an adjustable rate that will probably, in all likelihood, go over my fixed rate. I think I'd do the 15.
Okay, that's very prudent on your part, Mr. Realtor.
Yeah,
All
right.
right. Okay. Let's
I didn't
see.
go to school just to eat lunch.
Didn't
you?
you?
Know? No, it was
Oh, boy.
recess, too.
And you haven't worked for how many years without learning something, right? Okay, very good. Okay, let's see. Our friend Barry Habib at the MBS Highway, what does he say today? He is carefully floating.
Floating.
Floating. So if you lock it in your interest rate, you carefully float. You could kind of pay attention to the news and talk to your loan officer and decide what you'd want to do. And the loan officers out there, they're going to call their customers, say, hey, let's lock today, or hey, we can wait and see what happens.
Yep.
It might get better. Some stuff affecting bond and interest rates today. Durable goods orders, which measures new orders placed with domestic manufacturers of factory hard goods, which is a very important thing, was up 3.4%. That was a surprise. That was much stronger than the 0.3 that was expected. But Barry goes on to say, durable goods are heavily influenced by aircraft. You have to look at the number with the transportation stripped out. And then you get back to the 0.4%. So basically in line with what it was. So he said most of that orders, that 3.4 that it went up was aircraft, related to aircraft, which is
Okay.
probably a good thing too.
I like new airplanes when I fly.
That's a good thing, yeah. So that an aircraft are being built, obviously, so
Yep.
the aircraft industry must be feeling pretty good. That's all sounds good to me. Let's see, what else did Barry say today? Unemployment, initial jobless claims for last week was also released, and that decreased 10,000 from the week before. The claims are at 268,000. They've remained beneath 300,000 for 64 straight weeks, which is the longest streak since 1973. Now, of course, our labor force participation rate is down. Declined a lot probably since then, too. So you kind of got to look at that number with a little bit of a skewing maybe. There's not as many people actively out in the job market.
A lot of people have given up on looking for a job.
Yeah, so the fact that the claims have been beneath
Which
300,000.
means you and I need to work harder for them.
Yeah, that the claims have been beneath the 300,000
Yep.
maybe isn't that big a deal. Now, here's one for you. Pending home sales reached a 10-year high.
Yes, they did.
And pending home sales measures signed contracts on existing homes. So this
Right.
is existing homes, not new construction is not part of this. That was up 5.1% in April. That's
Yep.
the highest level in 10 years.
I have that right here.
Super.
That came out
We
from
can talk a
NAR,
little bit
yeah.
more about that then.
Yeah.
They're much stronger than expectations, which were 1.4, and it was the third straight months of gains. So year over year, pending home sales are up 4.6. So that's a good indicator going forward.
Yes.
Is what it is. Yep. Again, Barry says mortgage bonds are just trading in this range. They're just sitting there, and you look at the graphs. There's just this range of, and they've been sitting in it for a long time. So just lock them if you got them, folks. Is kind of what it comes down to. Let's see what else we get. Oh, okay, Greg. I got to ask you this one. Our friends Brian and Frank and Brian on the National Real Estate Post, they had their video blog this morning. Did you see it?
I didn't see today's. I've seen they've been going kind of crazy.
They've been having quite the week. But today they talked about Bank of America.
Bank of America
was
okay.
found, I guess they were found innocent. The Department of Justice had went after them saying, all related back to, the toxic mortgages.
Yeah.
They said Bank of America had been fined $1.2 billion for this.
Right.
Well, a court overturned the decision and said, no, they were not at fault. Okay? But there was an employee at Bank of America was the whistleblower on this deal. He was an executive at the Bank of America. So he probably was involved in the shenanigans or supposed shenanigans that now have been said, as far as the court's concerned, didn't happen. This whistleblower got $57 million. Okay? Now,
excuse me?
He got $57 million.
For blowing the whistle.
For blowing the whistle on Bank of America.
We're in the wrong line of work.
Yes. Bank of America was fined $1.2 billion. Now that's been overturned. He gets to keep the $57 million. Don't you think you should give that back because it didn't really happen? What you blew the whistle on?
That sounds like the lottery.
Okay. Anyway, Jim says we got to go. What are we playing? We're playing Beach Boys, California Girls. All right. We'll be back on the Dakota Housing Network. Dave Floor and Greg Larson.
This is dedicated, by the way, to my wife.
All right.
Very good.
From San Diego.
Okay.
Well, East Coast girls are hip. I really dig those styles they wear.
Right now, 63.
Here's Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons on Super Talk 1270.
All right.
Interesting conversation here. We probably shouldn't talk about it.
Probably not.
Okay.
So you think you're bad with your rap? Well, I'll tell ya, Pilgrim, I started the crap. When you were in diapers and wetting the sheets, I was at the Ponderosa rapping to the beat.
With the Rappin' Duke.
The Rappin' Duke.
Because it is John Wayne's birthday.
It's his
right?
birthday.
That's right.
John Wayne came upon us in 1907 this day.
Marion Michael Morrison.
Marion Michael Morrison.
From Ohio, I believe.
From Ohio, went to USC on a football scholarship. Mm-hmm. And his friend talked him into going to see if they could be an extra at a Tom Mix movie.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
And that's how he was discovered.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the Rappin' Duke, which is Sean Brown is the guy that did
There's a
this?
comedian named
Okay.
Sean Brown,
He
or
did
Greg
this.
Brown. That was another name he went by.
So anyway, I had never heard that before, the Rappin' Duke.
Yeah, that was big back in the mid-'80s.
But Duke was the original rapper, according to this.
Oh, of course, yes.
Yeah, okay, all right. Okay.
He used to rap fish in the newspaper.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, happy birthday to John Wayne.
There you go.
Who didn't love John Wayne? At least from our era, right?
The Searchers, great film.
Well, Greg, you know what? There's a guy in town today.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Lou Holtz,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Coach at Notre Dame.
coach at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
One of my
South Carolina.
favorite coaches is from Lou Holtz.
Love Lou Holtz. What a guy.
First time I heard him speak, he said, I'm at Notre Dame. I have a no-cut contract.
Yep.
What that means is if it's the third quarter, we're way ahead, and we've got the ball and we're moving, they won't fire me.
Yeah. There you go. Okay.
That's his definition of a no-cut contract.
Yep. Got to win. Got to win at college football. Okay. Anyway, but Lou is there. He's probably speaking right now. I
I
bet.
think he just finished.
Probably just finished. Okay. But there is another guy coming later today. Mr. Trump. Okay.
The Donald.
I have a little story here about Mr. Trump.
Okay. You do know that he is a licensed real estate broker, has been for 40 years.
He should be because
Yeah.
he's the real
I
estate
would hope
mogul.
so.
He's never been a realtor. He's never been a member of the National Association of Realtors.
Okay.
But he is a licensed real estate agent.
Yeah. Well, he's Mr. Real Estate Mogul.
That's right.
In New York City. No, well, they should be hitting him up. He should be a member.
We should sign
What's
him
wrong
up
with him.
That's right. I don't know.
The heck.
If I get a chance to talk to him later, I'll bring it up and give him an application.
Listen, you got any friends going? Because you said you're not going. You're not.
I'll be here.
You'll be here.
Yep.
You got any friends going?
My wife will be there. And
Okay. Well, she can yell at him then.
Sure.
Say, why haven't you joined the Realtors?
I'll text her. Tell him to join the NAR.
He could join.
He could.
You could join here.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. You should tell him. They should sign him up.
Yeah. We'll take his dues.
Sure. what are the dues?
You know what? For Bismarck Mandan Board of Realtors, I think the dues are like $250, $260.
Ooh,
A lot of money.
We're an affiliate member. I think we pay $200, and then they throw our website link on there for
Yeah.
a little extra.
Well, that's just the local, then there's state, and then there's national.
Right,
The whole
yeah.
bill's about $650.
Yeah. So, well, I guess he could afford that.
I think he could.
He should
probably.
join.
Yeah.
Donald, if you're listening, join.
There you
join
go.
the Bismarck Mandan Board of Realtors.
Yeah.
Right now. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, there's a story. Economists that were polled by Zillow.
Okay.
Okay. Now, for whatever that's worth.
Well,
Not a lot.
we can talk about Zillow if you want.
Okay. Well, this is not about Zillow. They just did the poll.
Okay.
They polled these economists, and the survey said, this is the Home Price Expectation Survey, said that a Trump or Bernie Sanders win in November would create a negative impact on the housing market and the country's overall economic outlook. The economists predicted that home price appreciation would rise 4% from 2015 and year's end, but their expectations would decrease if Sanders or Trump became president. Okay. With Sanders, the economists took issue with his democratic socialism beliefs, while Trump's unpredictability garnered him ill will.
Yeah.
Which I think everybody's worried about his unpredictability.
He's a wild card.
But
That's why my Facebook is lighting up.
you know what?
Yeah.
You might not. Economists don't like him. That might be a reason why to like him.
Might be. Might be.
Economists don't predict things too well usually.
Well, if anything that economists don't like, it's uncertainty.
yes,
You know, I mean, Bernie. At least with Bernie, you kind of know what you're getting.
yeah,
Although to me, the socialist thing has always been a misnomer. He's not an out and out. He's not going to nationalize everything. He's more like an old New Dealer. What do you think, Greg?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't think he wants to socialize everything, but I certainly think he wants to move to a New Deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, that's fair.
More taxes, more regulation.
Yep.
So anyway, the economists went on. They feel the more centrist candidates
Yeah.
are best for the economy and the housing market. Now, this survey was taken before Ted Cruz and Governor Kasich dropped out of the race.
Yeah.
And the economists viewed Kasich as most favorable of all the candidates at that time, and they had the most negative view of Cruz. So anyway, but we got Donald and Hillary is kind of Bernie.
Didn't I hear today that Donald has sold it up? Now he's got the
Yeah.
required
He's a
delegates?
happy guy today.
Okay.
He has the number of delegates.
It's
he
going to be a
needs.
good day to see him speak.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
would be. Yeah. So anyway, I just think it's interesting that these economists are predicting that he'd be bad. Either he or
Bad for
Bernie
home
would be
sales.
bad, and I guess Hillary, by their view, would be the best out of the three that are left here.
Or the least,
least
lesser
harmful.
of evils.
Or less, I don't know.
She's the worst except for all the others.
yeah. So
Well said. I don't know.
It's-
This is an interesting time.
It
Yeah.
is, yeah. So anyway, but if you want to go hear the Donald speak, it's probably too late because you said they are
They're
expecting
saying
an
it's
hour
gonna-
and a half.
It's going to take an hour and a half to get through clearance.
Yeah, just to
So-
Yeah.
get there.
Yeah.
Plus, I think
So,
they, if they haven't sold out, they've come pretty close.
Yeah, there's 4,000 some tickets, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Plus
Plus the 2,000 that are
the
there.
2,000 that are
registered.
at the
Right.
conference.
So whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be turning people away.
From what I heard, and again, I can't speak for certainty, but I heard that every ticket that they made available has been taken.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, has Mr. Trump has he laid out any kind of a plan for housing that you know of, Greg?
He hasn't spoken directly to housing yet. Today he's speaking to Energy,
Yeah.
and
obviously,
he's actually going to be speaking about the white paper that our Congressman Kevin Kramer helped write.
yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, and
speaks well.
I guess the bottom line is if the energy sector is doing well, at least in North Dakota, then housing is probably doing pretty darn good too in North Dakota.
Yeah, there's the reports will be out on our next week's show.
Yeah.
But housing in the first quarter statewide was up 3.5% to 4%.
Okay.
Slower in the West, which makes sense. That may change though now as Willis is getting rid of man camps or work camps, and those sort of housing go away. The folks who stay will probably be moving into transitional or permanent housing.
Okay.
And that's kind of where they're at right now. They have a lot of homes for sale in those areas. Another $10 a barrel, and I think all those homes will get sold because the workers who are staying will be permanent workers.
Yeah.
You guys in your deal did a study about that, and there's always going to be a percentage of folks who don't intend to live in North Dakota,
Absolutely.
but work in North Dakota.
Yeah.
And it was, 60% of the oil field workers?
Yeah.
They follow the oil play.
A very transient market.
Yeah, and they don't intend to do that, and so
Yep. They have their home
that's
base.
always there. They always have their base. But the housing for the people who are going to stay, there's still a lot of people who need homes.
Yeah.
And so I think the housing market looks good. You talk about what's going to happen in Bismarck and how many homes we need to have built and how many residents are moving in and what the schools are predicting. The real estate market, we have to have homes for these guys. Not everybody can live in an apartment, and not everybody wants to live in an apartment.
Exactly. Yeah. I guess with our first home program at NDHFA, I mean, we're seeing increased numbers from last year.
I believe that.
So and that's our primary markets obviously are Fargo and Bismarck.
Yeah.
Mandan. But we're seeing an uptick in Grand Forks, Minot,
Yep.
and actually Dickinson. And you're talking to your peers in those communities. It's Fargo is I think has kind of a crunch similar to us. Grand Forks, they've always had an issue with lower cost housing.
Yep.
But they seem like things are kind of picking up a little bit there.
Yep.
And in Dickinson, I think the prices have moderated and come down, and
A little
more affordable for people. And if you feel good about your job, they're taking them on. So that's all good. Jim, are we coming back? We got another song. What are we doing? We're doing a summer theme thing here today with songs that we're leaning heavily on the Beach Boys.
Well, for all the people who are thinking about Mr. Trump today, don't worry, baby.
Don't worry, baby.
All right.
That's what he would say that, I think, too. Don't worry, baby.
Right now, 63.
Dave Ramsey is heard here. Super Talk 1270.
All right, darling, don't worry, baby. Mr. Trump's in town. Dave Floor, Greg Larson, and Jim Walsh, Dakota Housing Network. We were talking Mr. Trump last segment, but we'll move on.
Before we go much
Before
further,
we go,
let's take a moment of silence.
A moment of
shall
silence,
we?
folks. Okay,
For
that's
those
hard.
of you
That's
who
not
are
good on the radio.
Collectible car fans, just a little brief moment of a second of silence, because on this day in 1927, the last Model T rolled off the assembly line.
Oh,
That was
okay.
it.
The end of an era.
The end of an era.
Well,
Here we go. Our
moment
radio
of
voice.
moment of silence.
Yeah. No, not a whole moment.
Okay.
I'd be nervous.
All right. Yeah, because it's not a good thing to do on the radio.
Right.
Have a moment of
So
silence.
you were talking earlier about the pending home sales index.
Yes.
And
Yep. It was
we
released
used-
today.
Yep. We used that before.
Yep.
And it's used by economists and the National Association of Realtors is the group that puts that out. They track it. It's because it's a finite number that they can look at, and it gives a real good comparison. And as you said, it's up 12.3%, or it's 5.3 nationwide.
Yeah.
And it is, and that's a really good thing. That means homes are going into contract. People are buying homes. The industry is up. In our area, over last month, it's up 12.3%.
Oh, my.
And versus last year, it's up 4.5%, which reflects North Dakota.
Yep.
We're not up 12.3 from last month, I don't think, but
No.
we are up about 4.5%
Year over year.
year over year.
Which is right on line with the nation.
Yeah, so that's good. Here's some mind blowers. The United States is up 30% over last month. Just over last month. Now, we're talking year over year numbers.
Oh,
But
boy.
the big killer there is the Northeast. Remember we talked how slow the Northeast was?
Yeah.
And people went, okay, the dam broke.
They picked up the pace.
43% over last month.
Oh,
in
boy.
Homes going into pending. And they're up in the South as well, but only 1.5% over year. And the West is off, which we understood.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's good. People are buying homes. That's good. There's always a cause and effect.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the effect.
Okay. Well, give
Here's
it to
the
us, Greg.
National Association of Realtors Housing Affordability Index.
We've
What
talked about that
happens
before.
when houses get sold? Prices go
Up.
up. Okay, which makes them less affordable.
Right.
So all across the board, from a year ago and from last month even, we are down. And they take it to Northeast, Midwest, South, and West.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Those are the pictures they take. So our affordability indexes are off.
Okay.
They're down. Not significantly, but a tick down. Houses are not as affordable as prices go up and they start to outpace rising income.
Right.
So as you might expect, the worst is the West again, California and Seattle killing this thing.
Seattle. Okay.
And Washington State, but all those west coastal areas, San Francisco is killing it.
Well,
Their
the
affordability-
guy that pays $700 a month to live in a box in his friend's apartment
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. They're down to 125. Again, 100 is not good.
that's the base.
That's the base, but that means
it's
if it is, the higher it is over 100, the better off we
right. Okay.
are because you can afford it.
Yep.
All right, so the West is at 125.
Okay.
That's a low for several years.
Okay. All right.
But their housing market is strong as we looked at the pending sales.
Mm-hmm.
That's up in the West. I have to flip pages here
few.
real quick just so we can
It's up a
reflect.
few.
It's up a few. It's,
Greg's searching his tables here.
It's up 18% over
Oh, boy.
last
That's pretty good.
month. However,
Oh.
year over year,
Yep.
it's off 5.7%.
Ah, okay. So it's picking up just in the last.
Yep,
Short
because the
period of time.
affordability index is low.
Yep. Well, it didn't take long for them to, that
No,
affordability
they
turn
reflect
around.
in a hurry.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're in the Northwest, Northeast. That's at 169, which is down a year ago from 176. So that's a tick down, but that also reflects the fact that people are buying houses, so prices are going up. Again, in the Midwest, this is a place to be, folks. If you're in the Midwest, our affordability index is 213.
Well, of course it is. We know that.
That's-
This is the place to be.
This is the place to be. That is off year over year, down from 223.
Okay, but it's still pretty darn
It's
good.
still very good.
Yeah.
It far shoots
we're-
beyond the others. So
Yeah. You're almost double what it is
if
in
you're
the
a
West.
starting family and you're trying to buy a house and you're approved for less than most of them are in North Dakota, we're sorry, but take heart. It would be worse elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Take heart. We're still in the best
And that's
place.
why there's the North Dakota Housing Finance Agency to help you bridge that gap.
And the Bismarck Mandan Board of Realtors and all of us.
And
all
the
of us.
finance agency.
Yes.
So
all of us. Okay.
it's good news, but that's the other side of it. The
Okay.
affordability index starts to crawl down.
Yep. Okay. Well, I can attest the Northeast, and I don't know if my sister lives in Jersey.
That would be
That would be still Northeast
Yep.
versus the seaboard.
Yep.
Okay. And last month, actually, they put their house on the market,
Mhm.
and they sold it in 2 days
okay.
in Jersey for more than what they were asking for. So that I can direct
Yep, 48%.
verification of
Yep.
what happened in the Northeast. Then is it's pretty hot market.
Yep.
And they weren't, they were surprised. They weren't expecting that. I mean, their realtor told them is that your house will sell immediately.
Yeah.
And they were, okay, and bam, it did.
Yep.
And so they were very pleased. All right, okay, Greg, I got one for you. That you need to be careful about this.
I do.
Okay.
What did I do this time?
Well, you know what? I'm gonna come back to that.
Okay.
But I just a little teaser there. I got something. You realtors have to be very careful these days. There's people watching you.
Oh, yes, there are.
So,
okay. I think I know what you're talking
Okay.
about.
No, I
the
did.
HUD, the HUD spies?
Yep.
Okay.
Found another article here that relates to the affordability thing. This is on Housing Wire. So our inventory, if things keep going, our inventory is
Yep.
probably going to decrease a little bit,
Yep.
especially existing. Okay. So home buyers, how to beat out other home buyers when there is no inventory. This comes from Housing Wire, and this was comes from the Orlando Regional Realtor Association. So we're talking Florida here, but I think this probably goes with every place. Tips on making an offer when there's low inventory or no inventory. Preparation. Got to have your finances in order,
Yep.
get pre-approved, all that stuff. Hire a realtor to locate and sell, negotiate. Don't wait until Saturday or Sunday to house hunt. Have your realtor make appointments as soon as possible to see places, right?
Yep.
Whatever time during the day, right? You would encourage your clients,
Yeah.
I can go show you this house today at noon over lunch hour, do it, right?
Yeah.
Don't wait till the evening so that it could be gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very much so. And definitely don't wait till the weekend. Okay. Next thing was making the offer. They suggest do not assume you have opportunity to negotiate. So do you run into that? Or people think, I got to negotiate. But if it's a hot market,
Yeah.
you can't really negotiate, can you?
No.
So you got to be prepared, for that. A couple other things that kind of stood out to me was, don't go out of town or be otherwise inaccessible to your realtor, right?
Yes.
Without
yes.
giving her or him a phone number that they can call you at immediately, right? There's no excuse for that these days with cell phones, unless you are going
Right.
to the Lake of the Woods or something where there's no service, but then don't do that when you're looking for a house is what it comes down to. Yeah. Okay, now a couple of things here I thought was interesting. Standing out to the seller of the house. This lady, Lisa Ford from Orlando, says, amp up the traditional letter to owners with photos of your family or pets, personal recommendations, or a sentimental memento of the home they are leaving behind. Do you guys do any of that up there?
We don't so much. I have had letters. I had a listing in Mandan. It's just a beautiful little house. It's a classic, one of the old railroad Victorians.
Yeah.
Very well cared for. And we had 3 competing offers on it. This is a couple years ago. And all 3 of those folks wrote letters to tell them why they should
Okay.
sell the house to them.
Yeah. Okay.
And the sellers accepted a 4th offer that came in.
So didn't really work.
Didn't work for them, but
Okay.
that's a good idea. It's one of the a professional realtor. Many of them, when we're presenting an offer, and we used to be able to a lot more present to the sellers.
Yeah.
That's kind of going away. People have gotten busy. The listing agent kind of wants to have a little more control over what the buyers hear.
Okay.
What they're trying to do, and it's a good thing, it's professional, they're trying to eliminate the emotion
part of it. Yeah.
so that it's more of a business decision. So it's a little tougher nowadays, but
No,
you
no, I
try
remember
to tell the story of your buyer.
It can make a difference because personally, when we bought the house we're in now, we bought it from the original owner of the house. It's built in '52. We bought it from the original owner, and our daughter was like 2.5 years old at the time, and she came with us. And there was the daughter-in-law that was showing the house. She came with us when we looked at the house, and Rand Strothman
Okay.
was
Yep.
our realtor at the time. Okay, and Rand was with us, and we looked at this house, and the daughter-in-law took a picture of Hannah, our daughter, showed it to her mom, and said, "Mom, you really you should sell your house to these people. And they fell in love with our little girl.
Yep.
And they kept that house open for us until we could sell the house.
That's marketing. That's the
That's
difference
marketing.
between advertising
So,
and marketing right
Something
there.
like that can make a difference.
Can very much so.
Yeah. So interesting. I was curious to know if you guys did that as a routine out here, but okay. All right. So we'll be back on the Dakota Housing Network. Jim, we are going out on Do It Again. That's what Trump would say that too, I think.
I
Let's
think
do it again. Okay. All right, we'll be back. Greg and Dave.
Right now, 66.
On Twitter, Facebook, online, and YouTube. SuperTalk1270.com.
In my car outside your Remember when you spilled Coke all over your bike?
All right, all summer long.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to have. Politics all summer long.
We sure are.
Okay, right here in Bismarck even, we
Yeah.
got politics all
It's going to
summer
be
long.
huge.
Yeah, huge.
I'm telling you something.
My wife gets on me for saying it that way because I'm an East Coast guy.
Yeah.
I'm a Philly guy.
Yeah.
And I say, hey, humongous. Hey,
Humongous.
it's human nature.
Human nature.
My wife kills me over that.
There is something wrong with you, Jim.
Well, that's
But
all right.
Well, we knew that.
Yeah, okay.
Acceptable.
Yeah, and
It's just-
water's wet. Stop the presses.
It's
That's
just
acceptable.
it's just one more nail in the coffin, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay, all
Put
right.
that on my resume.
Okay.
So we're talking
Great.
baseball.
It's baseball. Well, it's summer.
In the
It's
break. It's
baseball.
summer, it's baseball.
No, on this day in baseball, what happened, Greg?
Well, I'm going to tell you the reason we're talking about it. Just a little brag, as my grandson Alex Delzer is on the Shiloh Christian baseball team, and they are going to be playing at 4:00 today
All right, go Shiloh.
to see if they can play for the championship tonight.
Shameless plug.
That's right, and his
Okay.
name might not be Alex Delzer, but it might be.
Oh, I think it is.
It is.
Okay.
Right. So in 1959, today we were talking about this at the break. Harvey Haddix. Now this poor guy. I mean,
He played for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Pittsburgh Pirates, the Pittsburgh Pirates. There. Pirates. Pitched 12 perfect innings.
12 innings of perfect ball.
12 perfect innings.
No hits, no runs, no errors, no
Not
walks.
a thing. That's right.
Okay.
So here comes the 13th inning.
Uh-oh.
First out, struck him out.
Uh-oh.
Second out, struck him out.
Uh-oh.
Third batter, strike one, no balls.
Okay.
Strike two, no balls.
Uh-oh.
Next pitch, strike. Now, who was on? There were two guys on base. Must have been walked. How could it be perfect? So he wasn't perfect in the 13th.
No, he wasn't perfect in the
All right,
13th
so he had
because
two
he
guys-
gave up a hit.
Okay, he gave up a hit.
And then they walked Hank
And
Aaron.
they walked Hank Aaron. Okay.
Because they didn't want to. They didn't want him facing Hammer and Hank.
So there you go. That's the situation. So he gets a strike, another pitch, and everyone thought it was a strike, and the ump says, nope,
Ball.
it was a ball.
Okay.
So the next pitch, the guy parked the ball.
Oh boy.
Home run.
Okay. I'll see. That has
So-
never happened. That's the one and only time that's
One
ever
and only
happened.
time
12
that's ever
innings
happened.
of perfect
Right.
baseball pitching.
Yeah. But is he in the Hall of Fame?
No.
No. Is Hank?
Yeah. Hank
is.
been in there for a while.
So
Yeah.
the other interesting part of that is,
Well, actually, the guy hit the home run.
yep,
The guy that was on second scored.
yep,
Hank Aaron just walks off the field.
because the game's over.
Game's over. As far as he's, so he just walks off the field. He doesn't go across home plate. He just walks off the field, and then and then the other guy came around. The guy that hit the home run, he ran the bases and he scored. Okay, so they think it's 3-0. Well, the Major League Baseball had to go back and change the official line in the score. The first guy scored. Hank never crossed home plate. He's out because
out.
the other guy technically passed him on the base paths. But because Hank walked off field, they couldn't give him the home run. They gave the guy a double because they said he would have passed Aaron once he got past first base. So the game ended up being 1-0 in the official line. But
There you
he
go.
gave up a 3-run homer. But poor Harvey, that's tough.
That
is
that's
tough.
That's a
So obviously the other
spot in history.
The other pitcher was having a good day too,
Yeah,
because it was 0-0
nothing to nothing. So
for
it wasn't
12
a-
innings. Yeah.
They were
Okay.
playing
Now, Greg,
game of the years. Yes.
last segment I teased us a little bit about as a real estate agent, you're going to have to be a little careful these days. San Francisco The FBI has been accused of planting hidden microphones around the Bay Area to nab real estate investors. Agents from the Federal Bureau of Investigation reportedly planted hidden microphones in and around the San Francisco Bay Area as part of an effort to catch several real estate investors suspected of bid rigging at local foreclosure auctions.
The shame of it all.
This happened back in 2010 and 2011. Boy, it takes them a while. But they allegedly placed hidden microphones inside light fixtures, at a bus stop, and in other locations around an Oakland courthouse without a warrant to obtain more evidence of fixing foreclosure auctions. They put mics in the light fixtures just outside the building near the steps. Inside the courthouse, agents put a bugged backpack near one of the statues. Now, that wouldn't happen today.
No.
If there's a backpack just sitting there,
Yeah.
security is not letting that stay there. That place is shut down.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, so that's not happening
even
today.
If it's my pony.
Yeah, so some guy at the FBI is going, darn it, you can't use that one anymore. But they allegedly planted hidden mics under rocks and in trees. So you got to be careful out there, Greg, as a real estate
Well, that's
person.
only if you're going to be a cheater.
Yeah,
You know,
only
that's-
if you're cheating.
that's-
So you got another one, though.
Yeah, this isn't unusual though. Those accusations have come up with auction rigging.
Yeah.
Back when the housing market busted, and there were a lot of in 2010,
Mm-hmm.
there were a lot of folks in vacation areas
Yeah.
that were buying up homes. A lot of out-of-country folks that were accused of rigging it. Okay, I'll get this one, you get the next
Yeah,
one. Well, so that doesn't surprise me that the
Well,
FBI was
you-
trying to do it, but I don't know how widespread it was.
Yeah. And you see, we see it on TV.
Yeah, accusations, but nothing
The
real.
flipping, flopping shows.
Well,
where they
yeah.
all stand there and bid on these homes.
Yeah.
You could see where these guys,
Yeah.
they all know each other
Are
probably.
the guys buying the storage units?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all know each other, and they're
Yeah.
making a show up whether they don't like each other. But they probably are saying, yeah, you can have that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if that's
who knows?
rigging it or not,
Yeah.
but I'll let you have that one, and
Yeah.
and then it's kind of understood. Well, I'll let you have the next one or something. But
Yeah.
but these people were actually they
Does
thought
it say
were
if they
really
caught
rigging
anybody?
it. No, it does not.
Which
One of
means
the
they
accused
probably did.
investors, of course, is trying to get these recordings thrown out because they were
Certainly.
obtained without a warrant. So,
Certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you have another one that's similar to that
Well,
that you know about.
You've heard of a secret shopper?
Yeah,
like
we're
McDonald's hires
I
people to come in and order a meal.
yeah.
And then they tell them how the service was
Yep.
and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And Walmart has them. And I remember a couple of years ago there were ads for secret shoppers in this area.
Okay.
Okay. Well, HUD is
HUD does
doing
the same thing. Yeah.
They have their secret shoppers. We have heard rumors that they're coming into our area, which is fine. Come ahead, But the point behind this is they will have home buyers they work for HUD, and they want to buy a home, and so they will contact a realtor. They'll go out and look at homes, and make notes, and then decide if the realtor is being forthright, showing the house properly, that sort of thing. Then the other thing they'll do is they'll bring someone in behind them who is of another. Oh, they could, it could be racial. It could be religious. It could be sexual preference.
Yeah.
Someone different.
Any of the protected classes, so
Right.
to speak, as they say. Yeah.
Hook up with the
discrimination.
same realtor,
Yep.
look at the same houses,
See what's said and not
judge
done.
how they're treated.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
To my knowledge, they have not found a lot of that, a lot of discrimination happening nationwide. But we understand it's coming here.
Yeah.
But they've been doing it in the apartment rental
For a long time.
for a long time.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah.
new to those guys.
Right. Yep. Yep. Okay. Now you had another article kind of related to this.
Yeah.
We got a couple minutes left.
Okay. Well, real quick.
we can pick it up. We
Yeah.
can touch
This
on it
is-
and then pick it
this
up
is-
next week or something.
This is really for our friends who are landlords who own property
Yeah.
for rent. Last week, week before actually, in Washington D.C., we were addressed by the folks at the Housing and Urban Development, and they told us that they're changing standards and making suggestions on how you do background checks.
Ah, okay.
That you can do a blanket background check, but you may not just say everybody who has a felony is out.
Okay.
If someone has a felony for a crime that is nonviolent,
Ah,
maybe they should get in. And
Okay.
someone who has a felony as a child molester probably shouldn't.
So what's a
Right.
non-violent felony?
like a drug bust.
That's
Let's say
yeah.
a pot bust.
Would it be?
Yeah.
But there's no definition. They're just
Yeah,
saying.
well,
you
it's-
really draw the line
they're
there.
just
That
saying
begs
you
my
can't-
question.
Yeah, here's the deal. You have to be consistent in what you do as a landlord.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, now maybe you can't discriminate so much.
Yeah.
So it's going to be
You got to be more discriminating about who you discriminate against.
There you go.
Exactly.
Very good, Jim.
well said.
Well put.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that's a little deal coming up that
Yeah.
we can talk more about. But
Well,
they're saying, and they're just suggestions.
there's
but
suggestions.
You
Yeah.
can be
right,
fined.
right, okay,
Yeah. What they're saying is, we don't want to get involved. You guys work it out.
Yeah, but we want to fine you if we think
Well,
you're wrong.
this is kind of the thing. Your regulation by enforcement that
Exactly.
we're having
Right.
a problem with these
Yeah,
days is
yeah.
that you don't have anything defined or definite on what is this that I'm
Figuring
doing
it out as they go along.
until it's kind of like I'll know it when I see it.
Yeah, I don't know what
That it's
pornography
wrong.
is, but I'll know it when I see it.
Yeah.
Same deal.
So it'd
it's
be
coming
very
up.
interesting.
We'll have more on
to
it.
talk
It's
about,
just as